Hello, welcome to SquishiVision, where I've just watched Doctor Who Flux, the Vanquishers, the final episode in a six-part story. That is series 13 of Doctor Who. So having just watched it, here's my immediate thoughts and reactions, having no chance to go through it, which might be to a quite strong detriment, because by God, was this a extraordinarily busy episode, and my brain kind of hasn't quite caught up to what's actually happened. Um, which I guess is kind of the problem. So I guess I'm going to also talk about the entire series as a whole and consider the whole story as a whole. And you might have to bear with me as I kind of try to mentally catch up to what we've just experienced, because there was, like I said, a lot to it. So my thoughts on the entire series have been consistently, this is very ambitious. It's in some respects much like how classic Who used to do stories across several episodes. Um, you know, 4 to 6 usually. Um, and that look, it kind of followed the same pacing but in a modern spin, and I thought it was great. I felt like there was a lot of plot, a lot of strands being thrown at us, but that's actually something I respected and something I enjoyed, and I liked the kind of scale and ambition and scope it was going for. I liked how it weren't it weren't basic dimming down everything. That was a really weird sentence to say, but I liked that fact. The problem is when you start off that way, that's fine. That's all well and good to start off your first and second and third act of a story having a lot of strands. Your fourth act should really start to squeeze it together into a kind of single one, and your fifth act really should only have a single strand to deal with, because otherwise you're resolving too many things in your last act, and the audience isn't really keeping up. And like I said, this is somebody who, and this might be, this might be this might be me blowing my own trumpet here, but I think as a viewer I am fairly adept at following quite complicated storylines. Some of my favorite pieces of drama are the ones that have multiple storylines going on, like things like The Missing and How to Get Away with Murder. I both kind of latched onto as quite as TV which resonated with me because of its complexity, and that's the kind of writer I want to be. But as Peel points out, that this show, while it might be engaging long-term fans, the casual viewer would be very turned off, and I can respect and see that. So for me, this last episode had a lot going on, and it was hard to really understand how it all connected. Like, it's fine not understanding what happens connected in the first episode, because I'm not supposed to. And a lot of people complaining but don't understand what anything has to do with each other, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. That's because we're only in the first episode. But if that's what I'm feeling in the last episode of a story, then I have some problems. So I might have to go through this episode by episode and just kind of piece together exactly what's going on with these strands to see where it lost me, or if I can understand it now. In the first episode, and this is me trying to remember a month and a half ago now, we had the Doctor trying to find out more about the division, and oh gosh, I'm gonna have to bring up a plot synopsis because there's that many strands. Uh, okay, so the strands in the first episode were the Doctor trying to find out what was happening, trying to find out more about their history with the division, and then through that discovering about the Flux and arranging for Lupari to protect Earth. The other strand was Claire being captured by Weeping Angels. The other strand was the Santarans was retiring. Was the Satarans trying to use a flux for something, and then Diana getting captured? Okay, the Diana getting captured. Okay, so Jesus, right? Okay, one thing, the simple point one is to go with the Diana storyline. So she gets captured by Azure and put into the prisoner. Why? As far as I can tell, as a kind of a hostage for Dan, right? That was the thing, but she gets captured before Dan even associates himself with a doctor. Is it because they know the future and that was gonna? I mean, clearly they don't have omniscience of time. They've not been portrayed that way, but they also seem to be portrayed in a way which implies they have knowledge and quite a wide perception of things. So did they just know this? Otherwise, why did they trap Dan? But they got Dan, and then eventually Deanne just is just an extra hand of doing things, and she's just surprisingly very competent in understanding of things around her to be able to provide assistance, and that's basically what her role is playing. Claire is probably the next most simplest plot line, and it's because the Weeping Angels are trying to capture the Division, the Rogue Angel, and these are the angels who work for the Division, and their role is simply to either capture this Rogue Angel or capture the Doctor, and they do that. Okay, so that's simple. The Centaurans. Well, I guess for the Centaurans, we have to go to the next episode. Also, is other damage to time done? Like, I was understanding that most of the universe was destroyed. Is that still the case? Is most of the universe destroyed? Is there one of the few planets that still remain? Right? Is the human history now fixed? Is Russia back? What happened to Russia? Yeah. What happened to Russia? Oh God, my brain is like woof. Okay. So there was more plot lines here, more some tyrants. They seem fairly self-contained. Oh, apparently time was reset. But I must have missed that. So I guess it's the time plot like kind of happened. They got stopped, and then we just at the last episode, they actually succeed in doing the exact same thing, which makes it very much filler because really we could have just done that bit at the end. This entire episode wasn't necessary. I guess so. The A plot of War of the Centaurans is actually filler for the B plot, which is Yaz and Dan meeting, and Dan and Vinda meeting Swarm and Azure, and learning about Atropos. I think that's the issue. I'm still not 100% sure what Atropos actually is. So Atropos is there to control. Atropos is there to control the embodiment of time, which is, I guess, meant to be an antagonistic force. I guess that's my understanding. And so the motivations of Swarm and Azure are to free time, who's actually an antagonistic force, being held in control by Atropos, right? But they make Yaz and Vinder replacements for Mori. Why? Okay, so then we move on to Once Upon Time. I might need to draw a diagram. So most of Once Upon Time is backstories of various characters who we don't actually really need to worry about. I mean, ultimately, Vinder and Belle are just characters there to play a role in the last episode. Not disrespect them, they're quite well written characters, they're very charismatic, but largely just characters, not really plot, not in the big scheme of things. The Grand Serpent, yeah, okay, so this is where he was established. And we see, okay, so I guess that the main thing is so they wanted so Zero wanted the Doctor to jump into her own time line. Huh. But why? Remember? The next episode of Age of the Angels is pretty self-contained. There's like only one main plot apart from the Bell part, and that's just the Doctor being captured. It's probably the simplest episode. So is Survivors of the Flux, actually. Survivor of Flux is where it felt like things were being squeezed into a narrative that was coherent. So the whole reason behind Flux is pretty simple, actually. It was simply because the Doctor was finding out too much, and they're like, "Well, let's just destroy the universe so they can't find out anymore." Um, so they can't find out anymore. Um, but then the Doctor was actually gonna save things, so they decided just to capture the Doctor. Dan and Yaz and Jericho are trying to find out when the world ended, but apparently never actually. Well, no, they did. Okay, and that's how they got the new to get to the right place. Okay. And then, okay, so now we're at today's episode. And it was jumping too quickly between. I appreciate what they're trying to do. They're trying to replicate that sense of discombobulation that we were experiencing with the Doctor jumping between different time frames. But yikes on bikes, did I not. Even this was too much for me. Like, I don't really understand all the things. I understand the asking things. What was Prentice doing? What was I understand Mr. Tarman motivation. I understand that part of the story. Don't understand, but it was like I think the issue is the Grand Serpent part had nothing to do with the Flux part. So I feel another Grand Serpent's quite an interesting villain in of himself, but had literally nothing like his hell to do with Flux part. So we spent less time. A lot of the Flux parts were really confusing. They're trying to release time, and also the Flux got dealt with extremely easy, which is also the problem. It wraps up wraps up in 10 minutes, and 10 minutes wrap up is alright for a 4 episode. For a 6-parter season, at least half an hour of that should be wrapping up. It was an hour long as well, actually, even longer. I think it started late actually. So yeah, I think as an immediate reaction, I don't know what's happened, and I need to kind of, I guess, watch it again. I guess read some synopsis. I guess hear from other people. But I think the biggest issue is they didn't combine the strands enough. I think there were still 2 strands they were dealing with. I understood. Yeah, I just yeah. That's the issue ultimately. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm hoping it does. And then we got the Dalek episode for New Year's Day called Eve of the Daleks. I think that's on Katie McGrath in it. I'm not entirely sure. And then some more specials, and then that's in the Vitikus tenure. But yeah, I have no problem with a lot of Whittaker's era, but I know a lot of people do. And I was hoping this would kind of help unify that, because it's finally doing what I said to do for years and do multi-part stories. But it just ended up doing what a lot of the episodes I've criticized in the past do, and they too much at the end. So those are my thoughts. I have to write an article about this now, so I'm going to do that now and see if that makes any more sense, and that'll be on the Curry Outline of Could UK at some point in the next time. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought, and I guess that's Doctor Who done for another 25 odd days. So I'll see you in just over 3 weeks. Well, I'll see you before because I'm doing Hawkeye and all other stuff, but for this, bye.